They asked for my name. Saya. I answered quietly. The man at the entrance scrolled through the list once more. His courteous smile flickered. Sorry, Mom. Your name isn't on the guest list. Like, comment, and subscribe Huna Stories for more stories. For a moment, everything around me felt muted. I could still hear the music drifting from inside, the bursts of laughter, the clatter of glasses, the photographer calling out, "Smile, everyone." But my attention stayed fixed on that list. My name wasn't there. Then I spotted her, my mother, standing beneath the floral arch, champagne in hand, bathed in warm golden light. Our eyes locked. She didn't look the least bit surprised. I walked toward her anyway. Is this a mistake? Her mouth curved into that familiar, merciless smile. Did you honestly think you were invited, Saya? Strangers aren't welcome. That was it. The final blow. I smiled in return. Then I'll live like a stranger. And I turned away, quiet, composed, leaving behind the music, the celebration, the family, and the woman who once called me her daughter. But when the ceremony started and the lights dimmed, her phone began to ring. And that was the start of her downfall. Backstory. It began 5 years ago, the day my father passed away. My mother transformed overnight. The warmth she once pretended to show disappeared, replaced by something colder and harsher. I became the unwanted reminder of the man she hated, my father's favorite, his reflection. When my younger sister, Saba, got engaged, I tried to stay involved. I helped her pick out her dress, organize the decor, even manage the guest list. It was my attempt to hold onto something, to convince myself we were still a family. Then one evening, I overheard them, my mother and Saba. "She's not part of this family anymore," my mother said. "She'll just turn everything into something about her." Saba didn't object. She simply exhaled. "Fine, do whatever you want." That's when I understood. They had already decided I didn't belong. Discovery. Like, comment, and subscribe Huna Stories for more stories. The betrayal wasn't just in what they said. It was in what followed the silence. No calls, no updates, no mention of a wedding date. When I eventually came across the invitation online, shared by a distant cousin, I realized the wedding was that very weekend. I wasn't furious. I just felt empty. I sat staring at the photo of my sister smiling in her bridal gown, and something inside me shifted. If they wanted me erased, I would grant them that, but on my own terms. The plan. My father left behind more than memories. There was property, shares, land, and a family business. By law, half of it was mine. But my mother had manipulated the situation, persuading me to sign temporary documents after the funeral. She believed I never read what I signed. She was mistaken. For months, I had been quietly preparing. I tracked down the original lawyer who drafted the will. He was ill, but still alive, and willing to correct what had been taken. While they focused on wedding plans, I gathered paperwork, signatures, financial records. I told no one. I made no threats. I simply smiled, kept my distance, and waited. My revenge wasn't loud or dramatic. It was silent. The kind of silence that carries the weight of an execution. The night before the wedding, I met my lawyer. "Are you certain?" he asked. "Yes," I replied. "Submit everything tomorrow morning. Make sure she receives the notification during the ceremony." He paused. "That will ruin the day." That's the point. The documents included not only my inheritance claim, but also evidence of forgery. Her signature posed as mine on legal papers, a criminal offense. Every detail was timed. The delivery, the public filing, even the alerts sent to her business partners. She had constructed her empire on deception. I simply removed one brick. The climax. So when her phone rang during the ceremony, I didn't need to witness it. I could picture her face, shock, then confusion, then understanding. By the time the groom slipped the ring on his Saba's finger, my mother had gone pale, clutching her chair. The murmurs began shortly after. One of her business partners left the reception. The lawyer she relied on stopped answering her calls. When her phone rang again, she stepped outside. Someone must have informed her that her accounts were frozen pending investigation, that her assets were under review, that the house she lived in, the one my father built, was legally under my claim. I didn't attend the ceremony, but I heard all about it. Relatives texted, confused. My aunt called and asked, "What did you do?" I replied simply, "I lived like a stranger." Resolution. A week later, a letter arrived from my mother. There was no apology, just one sentence. "You destroyed us." I folded the letter neatly and placed it in the drawer beside my father's photograph. "No, you whispered. You did that years ago. I only reminded you." Now I live in the house she once called hers. It's quiet, peaceful. Sometimes I walk past the hallway mirror, the one my father installed himself. For a brief second, I imagine I see him there, smiling. People say revenge doesn't heal. Maybe that's true, but justice does. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe Huna Stories for more stories.